guys, what's going on? It's Ultimus, and today we are looking at the Windwalker Monk. I almost said Mistweaver, but I knew that wasn't right. The Windwalker Monk artifact weapon, keeping this series rolling for you guys. Trying to hit up as many new classes as we can and specs before we go back and reevaluate what's kind of been changed. Unless I feel like some of the changes are major enough to address. I almost redid Unholy Death Knights because some of their stuff got touched up a little bit differently, but I decided I would go ahead and bring out something new, and maybe farther along in the week we'd go back and retouch on Death Knights, just for personal reasons, I suppose. But I feel bad giving you guys recycled content when I could just be giving you new content. So, that being said, let's go ahead and jump right in. First talent that we're looking at, and the starting point is Strike of the Windlord. I guess I should say too right off the bat, I am using a different site this time around. I'm using Wowhead as opposed to WoW Database. Simply because when I went to do this on WoW Database, the site was kind of bugged, it seemed, and there was no tooltip showing on any of the talents. So what we're looking at now is a little bit different interface for this. A little more details that have come out too as well. So new information and more information is always a good thing, but just thought I'd give you a heads up on what site I was using so you guys could take a look at if you wanted. And of course, all the links to these are going to be in the description. But Strike of the Windlord. Strike out with both fist weapons at all enemies within X amount of yards, we'll just say, in front of you, dealing 750% plus 750% damage and reducing movement speed by 50% for 6 seconds. Oh, wow. So you're hitting with both weapons. Both are doing exact weapon, or 750% of their weapon damage, and they're reducing movement speed by 50% for 6 seconds. That's crazy. And that's the cost is 100 artifact power. It's still yet to be confirmed all the different ways that we're going to be gaining artifact power. I know we're going to get some through stones, through questing, through PvP. They mentioned all that through raiding. So I'm curious how fast this progress is going to be as well. Because I know this isn't something we're going to get within the first 2 weeks of the expansion. I can't imagine. But I wonder how deep we are going to be in, say, 2 weeks of the expansion. Just very, very curious. Dark Skies increases the blackout kick damage by 3%, up to 6%, 10%. And then going down to Light on your feet. Increases chance to dodge by 3% up to 10%. Pretty cool. Increases Rising Sun kick damage by 3%, 6%, 10%. So what I'm seeing here too, since we're getting a buff to our dodge chance, and I say our because I actually do have a Windwalker Monk that I play occasionally. Also, please forgive me, my eyes are really itchy again, and I don't know why. I should probably go to the eye doctor and get that checked out. Probably not a good thing that my eyes are itchy. But with the emphasis on dodge here, it does seem like dodge is going to be a major mechanic. I mean, it already is for monks, but it might be more enforced as a defensive mechanic, more or less, as a means of keeping yourself alive. And so maybe less proccable defensives, or on use, I should say, rather, and then maybe more emphasis on hopefully this dodge chance working out. I don't know, but I mean, we didn't see any increased parry chance really by default in Warrior, so it's interesting that we're seeing just a flat dodge chance increase in Mistweaver, or in the, see, I did it, I knew I'd do it, in the Windwalker Monk tree. Just very curious. Whenever that one already, pretty basic, increased damage to Rising Sun kick. And then Tornado Kicks, Rising Sun kick now strikes a second time for 100% additional damage. Oh, dang. So I feel like that could get kind of strong, especially if you're able to chain your combos really well, because again, if you remember how Windwalker Mastery is going to work, is basically you're going to get a damage buff for every non-consecutive ability you use. So basically, you're going to be rewarded for mixing up your gameplay style and your rotation and not just spamming the same ability over and over and over again. So if you can wait until the very end of that combo chain, however you're going to set it up, and keep Rising Sun Kick to the very last one, that's going to be brutal because it's going to hit a second time for 100% additional damage. So I'm imagining that's going to be based off whatever the initial damage was. So that alone just sounds like it can get kind of crazy really quick. Just finishing off some gnarly burst there as a monk. Oh my goodness. Craziness. Strength of Zen? I don't know. White Tiger Dude. Increases the duration of Tiger's Eye Brew by 1 second, 2 seconds, up to 3 seconds. Tiger's Eye Brew is basically your main damage increasing brew. I don't think it's changing much going into Legion as opposed to where it is now in Warlords of Draenor. Healing Winds. When you use Transcendence Transfer, you heal yourself for 10% of your maximum health over 6 seconds. That's kind of cool. Especially again if we're seeing less on demand and on use defensives, this I could see being really cool. See, stuff like this is a little bit better. I think this is definitely a little bit more balanced. This might need to actually be buffed more or less, but I mean, compared to the Warlock portal where you port it and you get 100% heal, like that was just broken, I feel like. I mean, we'll have to wait and see what all this looks like in actual gameplay. I know monks have a little bit more active mitigation than warlocks do. Warlocks don't really have much except for their heals and self heals that they have and just trying to kite away, so that makes sense comparatively speaking. But when warlocks get that full heal and monks here are only sitting on that 10% health over 6 seconds, it's not even instant. That's just interesting. But seeing stuff like this in the game, I don't necessarily mind, as long as they don't make all of the defensive cooldowns this like proc heavy, more or less, like you have to wait. But I mean, just stuff like this I think is nifty, because again, it's on top of getting away, you're also getting a little bit of heal as well, so you're not just, because I think the danger sometimes too, and I know this is fixable if you just like communicate with your arena teams and at higher levels of play, doesn't happen as much, but one thing that does happen is a lot of times if you're porting away and if your healer's not paying attention, your healer isn't right next to where your port is, and so you've ported away as a monk and you've still got no heals incoming. Or this could definitely be more beneficial during solo play as well, which is kind of cool. You don't have to wait and see. You don't have to wait for healers to catch up with you. You can just heal yourself, and it's all decked out. Once you have all points in there, it looks like it's sitting at 20% for now. Over 6 seconds. Still not great, but it's not terrible either. I mean, again, when you look at the big picture, I think it's kind of nice that you're able to actually get away and take care of yourself rather than requiring a healer to heal you back up, which can be a good thing, especially if you're queuing Battlegrounds by yourself. You don't always have a healer walking around with you. Arenas are a little bit different story, but there is the better, I mean, there's the chance of that happening, though again, that's fixed by simply just using a voice chat IP, I suppose. But anyways, before we get caught up on talking about all of that, let's keep rolling with the talents here in the artifact tree. Fist of the Wind increases the damage of Fist of Fury by 3%, 6%, and up to back down to 3%? Question mark? That doesn't really make sense. So I'm curious what that will be buffed up to. I'd imagine 10%, just my guess. Good Karma, damage taken while touch of Karma of act. Wow, that was the worst sentence structure I've ever uttered in my life. Damage taken while touch of Karma is active, heals you. Much better. Dang. Okay, so not only is touch of Karma gonna reverse the damage back on the opponent, but it's also gonna heal you now. That's kind of crazy. Like, even more of a reason to wait and save Karma just to shut down Heavy Burst. Like, one of the most terrifying things when fighting a Windwalker monk on my warrior is when they know how to time their Karma for my burst. It just shuts my entire burst down, because it's like, well, looks like I'm not attacking. Cool. It just, and this even more so, I don't see, I mean, obviously good players are going to see Karma up and just know that you're going to have this talent. They're going to switch targets anyways, so it's fine, but being able to benefit from, I think, the players that aren't paying attention, I think this is going to be really kind of a cool talent. Because, I mean, I feel like a lot of times in lower rated arenas, people just tunnel vision stuff. And I know I can be guilty of that sometimes, too. Just tunnel vision. And then it's like, oh, I actually killed myself there because I wasn't paying attention. But that mechanic itself, kind of nifty, I think. A little extra heal. Power of 1,000 cranes. Increases the damage of spinning crane kick by 3%. 6% up to 10%. See, initially I was thinking like, cranes like, the construction stuff. Construction vehicle. I kept wanting to say equipment, and I knew that wasn't the right word. Wow, we are, okay, whatever. We're moving on before I embarrass myself anymore. Inner Peace. Maximum energy is increased by 10, 20 up to 30. So very similar to how Rogues had that talent. Looking at acrobatics, roll has an extra charge. Dope. Gale Burst. 10% of all damage dealt to a target with your Touch of Death on them will be added into the damage Touch of Death deals. Interesting. Because I feel like they reworked Touch of Death. Touch of Death isn't like an instant anymore, so it sits on the target for a bit, I would imagine, almost like Soul Reaper, if I'm not mistaken. And then however much damage you deal to them while Touch of Death is on them, 10% of that damage is going to be added to the damage of Touch of Death. Wow, that was a lot of weird words to be using altogether. Interesting mechanic, though. Kind of like it. It's like a stronger version of Soul Reaper for Death Knights, it seems. at least on paper. Transfer the power. Each blackout kick and rising sun kick increases the damage of your next Fist of Fury. Does by 5%, stacks up to however many times. I mean, because right there, I mean, Fist of Fury is going to change to where Fist of Fury doesn't initially stun anymore, so it's going to be your big damage channeler, I think. I mean, you can talent it to make it stun. We'll see if that actually gets taken, but that's interesting. Oh, we skipped this one, my bad. Death Art. Killing an enemy with Touch of Death resource reduces his cooldown by 25%. Oh, that's crazy. Up to 60%. Holy crap, that's crazy. Touch of Death is already pretty gnarly as it is. I mean, what's it, a 5-minute cooldown, I think? I mean, you're really only going to use it once in an arena match anyway, so being able to maybe use it multiple times, just even quicker, is just crazy. Especially in RBGs now. I mean, I'm sure monks are happy having a shorter cooldown on their, instant kill ability. It's a cool concept. Like, the ability itself, I like it. It's kind of a cool thought, just like you're hitting, like, the pressure point or whatever, and just, like, target's dead. Already talked about that one already, got ahead of ourselves. And then last but not least... There we go. I was worried it wasn't wanted to line up right. Crosswinds. While using Fist of Fury, you frequently project an image of yourself to crash into one of the targets you were hitting. Oh, that's interesting. So while you're using Fist of Fury, and I would imagine this procs even if you take the stun talent, because I don't see why it wouldn't, you frequently, and it doesn't say you have a chance, it just says you frequently, so I'm curious how often this is going to happen, especially per use of Fist of Fury, how many of these images we're going to see flying. But basically just projects an image at yourself and it throws it at the target and they take damage from it. Pretty cool, especially if it's like an exact copy of you or something like that. I mean, if it's like a lame little like ghosty, like a spirit or a wisp type thing, that's not really going to be as exciting. But either way, I think that sounds kind of cool. I don't know. Like, I feel like a lot of the stuff here for monks is more of just a flat base damage and mitigation buff, more or less. Better resource control. Addressing some of their defensive abilities and issues. The one talent down here that definitely benefits, and I can see how that's going to tie into your new mastery system, that's pretty cool. Playing off the rework of the mastery, I think, will be a lot of fun, especially seeing how much damage and how many like different combos and stuff people can put together with monks. I'm actually kind of scared to fight monks in PvP, just because like I know good monks are going to be able to pull this off, and just some of the damage they're going to put out is going to be gnarly. And especially with Demon Hunters coming into the fray, how Demon Hunters are going to find their place in Arena PvP, who knows what they're going to synergize with. This could just get very, very interesting, I think, very, very quickly. But that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you haven't already, please do swing by the rest of the channel and check out our 4th PvP montage. I didn't have a clever name for it. It's just called Ultimus 4, Warlords of Draenor PvP Season 2 montage. Attached to that is a giveaway for a Razor Naga Mechanical, so if you have yet to watch it and enter, follow the directions on that video and enter yourself in for a chance to win that mouse. If you live in the United States, if you live out of the country, I am sorry, I just don't have the means to be able to ship outside of the United States for the time being. But go ahead and hit this video with a like and a comment if you enjoyed it. Let me know if you play a Windwalker monk, or if you're debating it, how this is affecting your class or your decision to play one, just looking at the artifact weapons themselves. I do think it's kind of cool that they went with the direction of giving Mistweaver, or not Mistweaver, did it again, Windwalker monks the fist weapon as an artifact weapon. I just think that's kind of cool. They could have done so many other things, but I do like that they stuck with their initial idea and fantasy for the class and went with the fist weapon. So, pretty cool, I think, and I'm looking forward to seeing what monks look like in Legion. So as always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.